Hello everybody, thank you for being here as I depict my engineering project for something that I feel could be improved around Loyola. So here I've built a model of Loyola Blakefield using Google SketchUp. It only has the main buildings, Burke over here, and Wheeler over here. So if you'll notice, it's actually to scale each, so we can zoom in all the way, and it's based on feet and everything. But from the aerial view, all the measurements were obtained via Google Maps, and so it's extremely accurate in terms of how it actually fits onto the campus. We'll start over here in Wheeler. You'll notice I left all the doors open so that we can see how the flow works, because that's what my engineering project is on, is redesigning the traffic flow of the students within Blakefield and see how we can improve that in order to ensure a better life for students and getting in between classes, because we all know that it can be difficult sometimes with such narrow hallways. So let's go into the hallways. So right off the bat you can see that it's pretty narrow. What I have here is a pretty scale representation of what the hallway looks like currently inside of Wheeler, including the new end cap. So if you notice, there are no floors. I did not put the floors in there, so it's also easier to zoom in and zoom out and take a look and actually see inside. So let's move down the first hallway. You can see classrooms on the right and left, and now one of the significant improvements in my engineering project is removal of the doors that are going outwards. I'm just going to draw for you real quick what the doors currently look like. So the doors open outward, which means that they take up space in the hallway. When that's the case, you only have this little space for students to slip through, which can be extremely difficult when students are trying to get in between classes. Instead, the doors shouldn't open outward like they do now. Rather, the doors should open via inwards. So instead of opening outwards and taking up space in the hallway, they should open inwards and take up space inside the classroom, up against the wall, where it's not going to be that much of an importance in the middle of classes. So let's keep on moving. About to make the right onto the science wing. Again, there's no floor, so you can see the bottom of Burke there. But now we're going down. We see the labs on either side. And we're coming up on the chemistry. So one thing to notice in here is currently there are actually lockers in Wheeler, which take up about a foot in terms of actual length. So what they look like is something pretty close to this in space, which can be kind of difficult to deal with when they're taking up so much space on the floor plan, because it makes it difficult for us as students to be able to walk when there's that much space being taken up by lockers. And additionally, you have the doors opening in again, which can be difficult for us to be able to get through easily. So that's just one thing that I'm trying to remove, is the doors opening in these lockers. Now, how am I removing the lockers? Well, the point of it is to use technology to remove our necessity on backpacks, because currently we use backpacks to haul all of our books around and things like that. But if we can remove our dependency on backpacks, which can also cause problems with students' backs with excessive carrying of books, then we can remove those lockers, because students won't need to house their books anywhere at all, which would be extremely helpful. Alright everybody, well, thank you for watching the Wheeler segment, where I examined how we should change the doors from opening outward into the hallway and instead open into the classrooms, as well as the locker issue. So now we're going to examine the Burke issue and how we can improve efficiency in Burke. And this is one of the key areas where I'm hoping to improve. So we're going to go in here through the senior hallway. Hopefully I can navigate here. And so the issue that we're having a lot with Burke is a buildup of students. And students are building up right in this area where I am now. And I'll back out a little bit so you can see it. And as you can see, this is an area that students just would be able to get into a lot, and it really harms the ability of students to get past. If you think about it, when students are filling up this area, it's hard to get by, especially since all they're trying to do is get into this doorway. It's hard for students to be able to get by in order to get to their classes in Wheeler. So the solution to this is that we should not use the indoor or the upstairs and downstairs policy that has been enacted for the past several years. Rather, we need to switch that to an indoor and outdoor policy. So an indoor and an outdoor policy would be changed in that instead of focusing on you can only go up these stairs and only down these stairs, we can only go in this door and only out this door. So imagine this door right here. It is going to be an indoor. That means students can only enter that door from the hallway. You cannot exit it and go into the hallway. You can only go in order to get into the stairwell. So that means that students can either have two options once they're in there. They can either go down the stairs into the math department or up the stairs to the history and art department. If you went to the end of the hallway and made a left, then that door would be an outdoor, meaning students can only come out that door. Meaning, if you're in the history department, you would come down the stairs and then exit into that through that door. If you were in the math department, you would, just like you do today, go up the stairs at the far end of the hallway and exit through that door. So, ideally, that would enable us to have a much more efficient traffic flow. Also, if you'll remember, we have classrooms, or we have lockers at the end of Burke. Currently, at the end of this hallway here are lockers, and that means that if we're getting rid of lockers, as I said earlier, then we can turn that space into classrooms, and adding an extra 3 classrooms in all of Burke, which would greatly increase the amount of classroom space that we have. And increasing the amount of classroom space would mean that there would also be classrooms spread out throughout the campus instead of more focused and centralized, which would also decrease the amount of flow of students throughout the hallways. So, I hope you enjoyed my presentation where we went over Burke and Wheeler and their traffic flow, and I hope you liked the idea. Thank you.